The Safdie brothers' Uncut Gems plunges you into New York's Diamond District with a relentless, maniacal Adam Sandler as your only guide. If you just watched the movie, maybe take a few moments to collect yourself. Okay, that's enough. Now let's bet the house on a bunch of movies that share the same basic similarities with the Safdie's masterpiece. Now this is how you win. So here's some of the key elements that make Uncut Gems, and not, The Lion King or whatever. Above all, Gems is a character study of a man consumed by addiction. Sandler's Howard Ratner repeatedly risks his family, his sanity, several of his most prized possessions, and even his personal safety on a string of seriously ill-advised wagers.
That's the dumbest bet I ever heard of.
I disagree.
Second, much of the action of Uncut Gems concerns a chaotic, difficult to track, and even more difficult to execute series of exchanges. They constantly keep Howard just one step ahead of his debtors and their hired goons. Howard eventually risks it all in a wild NBA parlay, but he's already taken a Danny Ocean-esque series of operations to even get to the sending my mistress in a helicopter upstate with a bag full of money stage. Third, for a movie with a cast full of celebrities, not to mention cameos from John Amos and The Weeknd, Uncut Gems is very grounded and careful about creating a lived-in, realistic world circa 2012. Howard's New York doesn't feel like it ends at the doorway to KMH, but keeps on going forever to thousands more tiny stores filled with thousands of characters chasing their own private dreams. Fourth, sure, okay, Adam Sandler's not doing a crazy Cajun voice or making faces the whole time, but Uncut Gems is still very funny, finding the gallows humor in Howard's increasingly desperate and even pathetic close calls. It's also packed with an ensemble of zany eccentrics, from Howard's pawn shop colleagues who try to scam him in his moment of greatest need, to the very real person, Wayne Diamond, who helps Howard's girlfriend Julia escape the henchman on her tail. Finally, Uncut Gems truly brings you inside the unquiet mind of an addict, making it an exhausting and overwhelming experience. Like staring directly into a black opal, the movie's a dizzying assault in the senses, but, in a good way. So those are our big Uncut Gems takeaways. And though the Safdie's film stands on its own, as a unique and special achievement, we did come up with 2 more films that matched all 5 of these elements. Guy Ritchie's 2000s crime drama Snatch features an ensemble of celebrities pulling off, or attempting to pull off, all manner of elaborate schemes. Benicio del Toro's character, Frankie Four Fingers, is a degenerate gambler whose addiction to placing bets kicks off most of the film's action. It's full of very dark comedy, including a surprising amount of corpse material, and even a dog who's occasionally in jeopardy. Guy, you maniac. Americans won't stand for it. And as of so many of Ritchie's films, the dialogue in Snatch comes at you as quickly and relentlessly as the shootouts.
Anything to declare?
Yeah, don't go to England.
Massively switching gears now, we turn to Robert Altman's 1974 release California Split, starring George Segal as a casual gambler who gets in way over his head when he hooks up with fearless free spirit Elliot Gould. The pair embark on all manner of drunk, ill-fated schemes, culminating in a trip to Reno to play in a big poker game, and everything unfolds with Altman's studied naturalism. He fills the soundtrack with chatter and the frame with atmosphere and movement, plunging the viewer right into these seedy gaming parlors alongside his characters, whether they want to go there or not. And of course, the film is very funny. It stars George Segal and Elliot Gould, and they sometimes get drunk. How could it not be? Quentin Tarantino's feature directorial debut, Reservoir Dogs, is about an elaborate scheme to steal, what do you know, gems.
But on this particular day, they're getting a shipment of polished stones from Israel.
See? Connections. As with many of QT's follow-ups, the film mixes high tension and shocking violence with banter-heavy dialogue and funny asides. And the movie whizzes back and forth through time, cutting between the events leading up to the heist and its grim, bloody aftermath. You might even call it dizzying, if you were so inclined. 2013's Blue Ruin, the directorial debut of Jeremy Saulnier, doesn't concern a robbery, but an elaborate revenge plot that spirals completely out of control. Drifter Dwight Evans, played in a beautifully unstated performance by Macon Blair, tries to take out the man who murdered his parents, but just winds up digging himself and everyone around him deeper and deeper into trouble. The film builds to some pretty frenetic, violent shenanigans, but never feels cartoonish or over the top. It comes by its pitch-black, emotionally overwhelming conclusion organically. Plus, its depiction of a beach bum, not that one. There we go. A literal beach bum cleaning himself up and embarking on a new life as an assassin lends itself to wry comedy. It's like an early Coen Brothers outing. Watch it. The Safdie brothers had actually written Uncut Gems many years ago, but delayed making it in order to shoot Good Time, which they wrote specifically for star Robert Pattinson. Like Gems, the film is an absolutely relentless nosedive into an underworld of stupid, poorly orchestrated criminality, as Pattinson's Connie will do literally anything, no matter how unlikely to work, in order to free his brother Nick from jail. The film's bleak humor, finding chuckles in Connie's Sisyphean struggles against a harsh and uncaring world, and unblinking depiction of New York's underbelly are bound to appeal to fans of the Safdie's other films. Tony Scott's 1991 buddy flick, The Last Boy Scout, which boasts a Shane Black script, brings together Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans as unlikely mismatched allies, so there's your comedy right there. The film also concerns sports betting, with Wayne's NFL pro Jimmy Dix actually getting banned from the league on gambling and drug charges. And the storyline involves such an elaborate scheme, I'm not even going to take the time to describe it for you. Just trust me, there's a scheme. Finally, the 1995 Elmore Leonard adaptation Get Shorty goes 3 for 5 on our Uncut Gems list. The story of a Miami gangster who winds up a success in Hollywood features a number of intersecting ploys, many of which revolve around the excessive gambling debts of film producer Harry Zim. Plus, it's a charming comedy that fully cemented John Travolta's return to the spotlight after his breakthrough turn in Pulp Fiction, and features delightful supporting turns from Rene Russo, Danny DeVito, Dennis Farina, Delroy Lindo, and James Gandolfini. Boom. In terms of 2 for 5 matches, we'll start with Gaspar Noé's Enter the Void, a psychedelic and surreal attempt to envision what it might be like to die and linger on Earth, doomed to watch your loved ones move on with their lives. You know, for kids. The movie's hero dies of a drug overdose, so that's a check. And any film about leaving your body, entering the spirit world, and eventually becoming one with the universe is bound to be kind of dizzying and overwhelming, right? I feel like this is a given. Switching gears in a huge way, we turn to Stanley Kubrick's 1956 noir caper, The Killing, about an elaborate scheme to rob the money-counting room of a busy racetrack. Kubrick shoots the film with a practiced, careful realism. This isn't fun, fanciful movie cops and robbers stuff, but a hard-boiled tale of clever sociopaths who simply can't outthink or outrun their inevitable fates. Again, for kids. And that is a whole lot of stuff to watch after you've enjoyed Uncut Gems, and then taken a few melatonin and had a nice lie down. If that's too many options and you find yourself unable to choose, we strongly recommend California Split, one of Altman's most underappreciated efforts and maybe the most insightful, interesting movie ever made about what it's like to gamble all day, every day, until you physically can't do it anymore. But if you want to go off the all-important metrics, the film with the highest score on the Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter is The Killing with a 98%. Bunch of Kubrick chills if you ask me. The film with the highest user score on Metacritic is Snatch with an 8.8, and the film with the highest traffic on Fandom is Reservoir Dogs. So what do you think? Ready to trade in your Knicks ring for a year's subscription to the Criterion channel so you can watch all these classics? Are there any you're particularly excited to see? And how much would you pay for your own diamond-encrusted Furby?